Alright, so here I am covering my first ever runway show on the channel. Have never done it before, and I'm starting off with Gucci because that is the most exciting thing to me currently in fashion. But do expect me to branch out. I'm going to do other runway shows, Saint Laurent, Rick Owens, etc., etc., Raf Simons, Calvin Klein. But today the spotlight is on Gucci. Now, I am not an expert on fashion by any means. I'm like an amateur at this big time. But the thing that's been confusing me and has continued to confuse me about the Gucci fashion shows has been like, who is it for? So there was the one for the collection that's out right now, the Fall Winter 2017/18 collection that was in that big glass dome thing, the sci-fi kind of styled one. And then there was the Spring Summer 2017 fashion show. Both of those were like mixed genders, like maybe like leaning towards women, like 2/3 women's wear and women wearing them, and then like 1/3 men and men's wear. So I don't know what that was about. And then to add on to the confusion for me, for someone who's like kind of an outsider to this, they had a Gucci men's only Spring Summer 2017 fashion show, and I think there was like a few female models sprinkled into that wearing women's wear, so that really has like confused me a little bit. But this show we're talking about today, it seemed to tend more towards women's. It seemed like it was like 60% women, maybe 70% women. So maybe in the future there'll be a men's show. I don't know. Please correct me in the comments. I am very new to this. But of course I'm going to predominantly comment on the men's stuff because that's what I'm interested in wearing. But there are a few women's outfits and a few women's clothing items and bags and stuff that I'll probably comment on a little bit too here. Now, before the show even started, I saw these pictures of the runway set itself. Now, Gucci is a huge house. They have huge backing, Kering Corporation, all that. So they can pump a lot of money into these shows and turn them into a real big spectacle. Now, this runway show, they styled the room to look like, it looks like fucking Caesar's Palace from Las Vegas or something. You've got these statue heads everywhere, and then this big rave style, like LED catwalk. Yeah, you can see here, it's all kinds of stuff. There's like an Egyptian thing going on, all kinds of stuff. And at first, when I saw these pictures, I'm like, that's a fucking cool runway. But the second the show started and I watched it online, my opinion of it kind of went down the tubes a little bit. Now, I absolutely loved the presentation of the Fall Winter 2017 show and the Spring Summer 2017 shows. Loved the music, loved the presentation. It was easy to see the outfits, especially the Fall Winter 2017 one. Like, outfits were very easy to see, and it was a nice spectacle. So that's like the most you can ask for. That's the best you can get. With this, it was like the lights were really dim and they were like stuttering, like you're gonna get a seizure from looking at this, and I found it very difficult to look at the outfits in this show. So difficult, in fact, that I had to wait until Vogue put up their article with, really high resolution images of each outfit with good lighting to really have an opinion on the show. So this is definitely my least favorite Gucci show, Alessandro Gucci show, in terms of presentation so far. Definitely at the bottom of the list for me. Now, the first thing I wanted to start off with was this women's shirt here. Now, the second I saw this, it looks like a cigarette package, and that's the inspiration for this shirt. But I saw on Twitter, like immediately after the fashion show, a few people kind of complaining about how it's deplorable that fashion is making smoking cool again by taking influence from cigarette packaging to make a design. Now, that's absolutely your prerogative to be bothered by that or think that's fucked up or something. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. At the end of the day, it's a fucking shirt. It's a fucking piece of clothing. And if a piece of clothing is going to influence you to smoke, I think that's like the least of your problems. I think you've got other problems in your life if a piece of Gucci clothing is subliminally influencing you to smoke or think smoking's cool. It's just a shirt, man. Like, please. So I wanted to point out the tote bag here because that is apparently an Elton John album cover, and Elton John makes a few appearances throughout this collection with like some stuff with his initials on it, stuff that was apparently done by like his costume designer or influenced by his costume designer. I'm not a huge Elton John fan, that's why I'm not, very knowledgeable on this subject, but I do think that that's a cool inclusion. This jacket cape thing really stuck out to me as being cool. I think it's most likely a cape, because you can kind of see the two slots where your hands would go through if you had to use your hands for something like opening a door. But this is something that a normal person, or even a very rich person that could afford this, probably wouldn't be wearing on a daily basis. This looks like something that you would wear to like a red carpet event or something, and that's a theme that I find to be recurring throughout this entire collection, is that there are a few pieces that I do enjoy here, but not very many that I enjoy and would also like to own regardless of price and, wear on a daily basis. This was one of the standout pieces for me. Now, just looking at this full picture here, you're gonna think, wow, that looks fucking absurd, that looks ridiculous. Let's just crop off below and just focus on the upper here. It's much better. So Alessandro has been incorporating cartoon characters into these collections for a while now. Donald Duck, mostly, that was a big theme in a previous collection. And now we're getting Bugs Bunny. Very cool. So it's like a suit vest thing, and the Bugs Bunny ears go up the two sides of the vest. Very clever design, if you ask me. And then you've got, of course, since this is Gucci, we've got to put crystals outlining the entire design. Now, while I love this piece and would love to own it, although I never will because it's probably far too fucking expensive, but even if I did own it, it's like, what are you gonna wear with this? Like, what is what is it for? Like, this is another one of these pieces where it's like, this is really fucking cool, but how are you gonna wear this? What are you gonna wear this to if you're not A$AP Rocky and you're not going to, like, a red carpet event? And I know that that's like the thing with runway shows, that's the thing with high fashion, is that a lot of the stuff is so opulent, so over the top that it's unwearable for a normal person. But I found that a lot of the previous Gucci collections, no matter how expensive some of the stuff is, some of the silk bomber jackets, some of those really nice sweaters with crazy designs over them, those are crazy, but they're not so crazy that if you did have the money for those, I feel like you could wear those on a daily basis. But I feel that that is not as much present in this collection. There's not as much stuff like that. Okay, I absolutely love this jean jacket. There was that jean jacket a while back that had like the kind of like cream colored fur puff stuff on it, and then the embroidery is all over it that everyone wanted. Jared Leto wore it, all these people wore it. It was sold out everywhere. I was not a big fan of that jean jacket. I really love this one. I mean, look at that. It looks like a kind of like a cowboy thing here. Alright, so now we're getting into the stuff that I would really love to own and really love to wear. This sweater, like, this is number one on my list for me. So I saw this, and it's like, again, we're going with the Disney cartoon characters. We've got Snow White eating the apple on there. And I saw it at first, and I'm like, that's a really cool, like, a graphic print, or maybe it's like in the sweater, like knitted into the sweater, like some of the previous stuff. On closer inspection, that looks to be individual sequins on there, which is even cooler. You can kind of see the shimmering effect. I mean, that's an amazing looking sweater. I love that. But this is the kind of thing with those sequins. I mean, the price of this sweater, this is going to be through the roof. It's going to be dumb expensive. It's going to be like, I don't know, let's just say it's like $2,500. I mean, it's unrealistic that I would buy something like that ever, but I really do love it and I'd love to wear it. This is the last individual piece that I wanted to address before I just kind of talk about the show as a whole, the aesthetic of the show as a whole, and where this Gucci thing is heading. This little bag here, this is a men's bag, allegedly. It has Gucci on it. It's like gold printed on there. Those of us who like to play video games will know that that's a Sega logo. And they actually say on their tweet, inspired by the toy and game brand Sega. Now, the one thing I don't like about this bag is that Gucci is spelled with a Y, and I looked that up. It's apparently that's the medieval spelling of Gucci. I think it's kind of silly because it makes it look like a knockoff, and when you're paying, real Gucci prices, you don't want it to look like a knockoff. But setting that aside, this is a sick bag here, and like, I don't need to buy another Gucci bag, but damn, I might have to. It's a really tiny bag that looks like something that you'd fit like a wallet and a phone into. I mean, that's more to be an accessory than it is to be anything practical, but I absolutely love that bag. I will probably be trying to get that bag. I would really love in the future to see more stuff with that Sega Gucci logo on it. That's just sick to me. Now, I have to admit that this is not my favorite collection from Alessandro so far, but that is not to say that I think it's bad. There's, like I said, there's a few pieces here that I really like. I do think that overall the collection has a lot less, real life wearable pieces than I'm used to observing and used to seeing in other collections, but still overall pretty decent showing. I think that the most noteworthy thing about this show is how the Gucci marketing is kind of changing, how the overall aesthetic and how the brand is presenting itself is kind of changing a little bit. You can see this Gucci-fi stuff all over the place, this new Gucci logo, stamp kind of looking logo. Everything looks like the snake oil salesman from Red Dead Redemption, like some P.T. Barnum, traveling circus of fake wonders kind of thing. Gucci hypnotism. It's a kind of a cool logo. It's kind of a cool advertising campaign, but I didn't see that aesthetic too much reflected in the collection outside of a few people holding books that said, Gucci-fi, or a sweater or two that said Gucci-fi on it. But this is Alessandro Gucci, so this kind of aesthetic, this kind of P.T. Barnum thing that he's got going on here will probably continue on into the future and be more developed in later collections, because we've still got stuff like, the Donald Duck, the cartoon character stuff. That's a few seasons ago now, and we're still getting more Disney characters in these collections. So stuff sticks around for a while with these Alessandro collections. I know that this Alessandro Gucci stuff is incredibly polarizing. A lot of people hate this stuff, and a lot of people love it, with not much in between. If you like the show or absolutely fucking hated it, let me know down below, and if there's any pieces that you're eyeing like I am, let me know about that too. And thanks for watching.